Right, welcome back. 25 minutes before 9 here on the SABC. Thanks so much for staying with us. Let's start showing you more results and also predictions, because we're now entering the safe zone of predictions, and this is where they become exceptionally accurate. But this is not a prediction. This is an actual picture of how the results are looking right now. Let's put them up on screen so that you get a picture of what's happening nationally. So we've got the ANC sitting at 52.9% of the votes, the DA at 28.14% of the vote, the EFF at 8.4%, and the Freedom Front Plus at 2.7%. This is with a 62% turnout, and the current voting is at 23%. Let's talk to this now, Professor Susan Booysen. This is what the actual figure is looking like.
Yes.
But quite interestingly, we already have a prediction from the CSIR as to what the final results are going to look like. Talk to us about this.
The CSIR projections actually show us on scientific base what the final result might look like. There could be small variations, obviously, but on that basis, it shows that there are significant declines in the support of the ANC, for example, and going down to below 60%, and the DA going slightly above 20%, and the EFF almost just touching 10%.
Sure.
And that is interesting, these parties, because that means there's about 12 percentage points left of the national vote for the smaller parties to come in.
Okay.
And that is then where we know that the IFP and the Freedom Front are the next two ones in that line, definitely in with representation, and those will be the top 5 in Parliament. It's an absolute ding-dong between the IFP and the Freedom Front Plus as to who will dominate at that lower level there, and beyond that will still be space for a few of the smaller parties, but the CSIR projections are currently going on the 3 big ones.
Interesting. So just to quote CSIR predictions for the national result, they're quoting this on a 64% turnout. That's what they're predicting. They're saying that at the end of the day, this is what it could look like. 57.4% goes to the ANC, 21.5% to the DA, and 9.5% to the EFF. That, again, we're saying, has just come out from the CSIR, and that's their prediction. I mean, I've asked you this before, and I'm going to ask you again. When we look at this from previous years, are we within a 1 to 2 percentage point prediction rate right now?
Yes. But judged by past experience at this level of declaration of voting districts and votes known to have been counted, the CSIR, by previous experiences, have been decimal points out.
Yeah.
So these are, as projections, are pretty accurate reflections of what the final results are likely to be.
All right.
And fascinating, also turnout level about 10 percentage points down from the previous ones. That is low, and we've also seen these results, projections for a few of the provinces. It's a drop almost across the provinces. We've seen serious drops in the Free State, in the Northwest, the ANC moving to 61% by current provincial projections. ANC in Gauteng, fascinating, by current projections on 49%.
Wow.
We know by current counts, actual real counts, it is above 50%, but by the projections, it is a 49% for Gauteng at the ANC at this stage.
Let's put Gauteng up now. So this is what Gauteng currently is looking like.
Yes.
At 12.6% of the voting districts counted, 71% turnout. So it's a better turnout in Gauteng.
Yes.
So 54.3%, DA 20.5%, EFF 12.3%, and Freedom Front Plus 4.3%. So again, just talk to me about the CSIR prediction. You're saying they're predicting that the ANC is going to get 49%, and that the DA will get 29%, and the EFF 14% in Gauteng.
Yes, you know, that is still Gauteng we have to treat with a little more caution than other provinces, because the township results, those big metro areas, are just trickling in. There seem to be a sufficient number of voting districts declared to be pretty certain of these projections, but so many of these votes still have to be coming in. But yes, indeed, as you said, ANC currently projected on 49%, and these bigger opposition parties coming in, but there's also a sprinkling of other parties that might still, like the ACDP, like Al Jamal, who might still have a seat or two in Gauteng legislature.
Okay, so we'll get to the coalition talk and we'll get to how the running and all of that works in a short while, but I know that we've got a couple more predictions that have come through, and these are in the very interesting provinces, and that one being, first up, let's talk to the Northwest.
Yes.
Because the Northwest prediction has come through, and as you mentioned to me, quite a drop there again for the support of the ANC. You're saying that, let's put up the actual page and what it actually looks like right now, then we'll talk to the predictions. So if we can put up the Northwest province, let's look there. So right now, it sits at 62.2%. That's the ANC, 14.6% for the EFF, I beg your pardon, and the DA, 12.5%. So 61% is what the CSI are predicting.
Yes, that's pretty close by current status to the actual count. So the actual count, if the CSR projections are accurate here, I'm not sure exactly the number of voting districts declared for the province, but it could very well be quite accurate. And we've seen that the EFF moving above the DA in the opposition party stakes.
Yes.
And so the ANC, 61%, that is a drop from previous elections.
Yeah.
And so it is these provincial elections that are building up to the national results, provincial results going into that. And so explanations for the ANC's lessened national performance definitely coming from these provinces. And we've seen a Northern Cape to the ANC in the 50% projected final result there. And the ANC in the Western Cape not doing as well as they had hoped. Eastern Cape, we've seen so far by CSIR projections, roughly on the late 60s, maybe even 69, which could turn out to be one of the ANC's strongest provinces again.
Okay. Just before we wrap up here, I want to talk to the projections for the Free State as well. If we can put up how the Free State is looking at this point now in real time with regard to the votes that have been counted, the turnout and the rest. So sitting at 21.5% of voting districts counted, 63% turnout, ANC 61.9%, DA 18.6%, 10.1% for the EFF, and the Freedom Front Plus 4.5%. So 61 is what CSIR are predicting.
Yes. So it happens to be converging, even if about a fifth of the VVDs are counted, but that is a solid number for the CSIR PD doing their projections and for their projections to stabilize and be quite accurate. And yes, this just coincidentally happens to be converging very strongly, and it is a drop for the ANC, again, confirmed in this
official opposition, though, because were the CSIR not predicting in what they've just released that EFF are actually going to be official opposition?
In the Free State, I'm not sure exactly what they've done there. It could, if some other bigger areas come in, let's say the Botshabelo, etc., and the EFF does very well there, they could still push up quite a bit, because we know the urban areas where the DA is stronger, that they tend to be counted first. Their results are very likely to have been declared, so the EFF could still be pushing up through the ranks there.
Yeah, very interesting results coming through right now. And it's still the early days, but we keep saying that we're into the safe zone of predicting. When you say you're into the safe zone, whereabout is that? I mean, what percentage of votes counted?
10-12%.
10-12%.
That is, then the CSR usually gets decimally accurate.
Okay.
And we are beyond that point. So unless suddenly there are huge changes in big blocks, big voting districts, for example, in a township that come through and really shake it, there can be small changes at this stage, unlikely big changes away from the CSIR projections.
Yeah. All right, Susan, thanks so much for talking to us, and we'll get more analysis from you as the results start making sense of everything, which is important, and also talking to that voter turnout, because that's something we can assess right now. 64% is what we are predicting would be the voter turnout. That's almost a 10% drop on voter turnout. But, South Africa, I suppose, moving in line with the rest of the world for voter turnout, you never get get such high turnouts as you do in South Africa, where over 70% is usually the number? What does that talk to? The fact that we're comfortable in our democracy, or are we just a voter that is a little bit apathetic? Well, those questions hopefully going to get answered during our broadcast. Do stay tuned.
Political parties have delivered their manifestos, and now it's time for you to make sense of it all. From campaigning to declaration.